Smile. It's Cargyle. My fellow delegates, when you next convene, you will be asked to embrace a new narrative for the future of our party. This narrative has its origin at the national level, with McCarthy, McConnell, and McDaniel. It's being implemented here first because of the recall election. This narrative is so dark and deceitful that I literally cannot get my guys to get me on any network to discuss it. And I'm not talking about those liberal citadels of Satan. I'm talking about Fox, Newsmax, OAN, Lindell, War Room, no one. Because the new Republican narrative is this: the presidential election last November and the special recall election were both largely clean elections. Almost no fraud. Republican voters rejected Donald Trump and his America First agenda and simply didn't show up to vote. Consequently, for us to have any hope of ever winning another election, we must move the party to the left and distance ourselves from Trump and all that he stands for. That's the new narrative. The alternative is this: the truth that there was massive voter fraud in both elections, that millions of Republicans showed up en masse, Mark Moiser, only to have their votes stolen, changed, or canceled by the off-the-chart illegal voting here. This second narrative embraces the America First agenda and demands election integrity first and foremost moving forward. It's no wonder the RNC hasn't put a dime behind election integrity. Why would they, when the system worked just as they intended it? So what are you saying, Mike? I'm saying Republican Party leadership needed Gavin Newsom to stay in office for this new narrative to sell. The question now is, where do the delegates stand? Are we the party of the Mitt Romney Lincoln pedophile project, or are we conservative, America First? Are we sick of being governed by individuals we did not elect and whose actions and decisions we soundly reject? So, my fellow delegates, which one of these two narratives represent you? This is paramount moving forward. Indeed, nothing is more important at this juncture. So when the General Assembly meets, someone needs to get the floor and make a motion with an immediate second for a vote of no confidence. This won't remove the chair from her position. This is simply to establish the opinions of the delegates. A yes vote means you believe election fraud occurred and you disagree with her Mitt Romney direction for the party. If she allows the motion and survives the vote of no confidence, then we now know the character and constitution of our party. If she refuses the motion and rules it out of order, quickly respond with an immediate second to appeal the decision of the chair. If she refuses the appeal, immediately make another motion to conduct a no confidence vote using the vice chair. This will also be refused, and you immediately appeal that decision of the chair a second time. Now, there are 4 motions on the floor, 2 main motions and 2 appeals that the chair has refused. A point of order must now be raised because the chair doesn't have the luxury of ignoring appeals that she doesn't like. Keep repeating, point of order, she must deal with the appeal. If she refuses, she herself must now be seen as being out of order. If the vice chair or the parliamentarian refuse to intervene, then anyone from the floor can yell out a motion, "I move for the chairwoman to be removed from the assembly." All in favor say aye. If the ayes have it, then the sergeant-at-arms now has a mandate to remove her for being the chief obstruction to the proceedings. When she's removed, she will no doubt be followed by a few of her supporters. At that point, a quick point of information should be raised to establish that there's still a quorum in the room. The vice chair should then take over the meeting. The last 2 motions are now moot. There will be a quick vote on the first appeal of the chair, and then a vote conducted by a show of hands on the vote of no confidence. If she fights this process and the vote of no confidence prevails, then immediately move for a suspension of the rules and a floor vote to remove her from office. The suspension of the rules will require a 2/3 majority of the delegates to move forward. After that, it's a simple majority. The beauty of this whole process is it doesn't allow for proxy voting. because the action arises out of a floor motion and not an agenda item. Proxies can't be allowed. You can't give your vote to another delegate to vote on an item that doesn't exist yet. That's not what proxies are for. That's simply giving another delegate 2 votes, and that's against the rules. Conceptually, if that were allowed, you could have a couple people amass all the proxies and vote any way they wanted. That's communism. The only way any of this can occur is for patriots to be bold, strong, and courageous. Hey, Brian Watkins, in an ocean teeming with sharks, I'd hate to be a goldfish. This will be the most important Republican convention ever, because this is where they will seek to establish the new narrative. And as California goes, so goes the nation. So you, as a delegate, need to realize that the moment you step foot in the convention, history has its eyes on you. Unfortunately, I won't be there because I'm still running a fever, and out of consideration for many of our older delegates, I'm going to have to sit this one out. But in case you haven't realized it yet, it's 1776 all over again, and we cannot throw away our shot. May God be gracious and merciful to the United States in the days to come.